My name is Terri Belliveau, and I'm the Assistant Director of South Coast Youth Courts. I work primarily out of New Bedford. We also have an Assistant Director in Fall River. Her name is Nina Sousa, and I'm also the Youth Services Manager here at PACA. Youth Court is a juvenile diversion program that is primarily for first-time offenders who've committed either a school offense or a misdemeanor crime, holding them responsible for the behaviors that they've caused to get them there, and taking responsibility and making amends for those behaviors and coming back into their community, making better choices and better decisions. A traditional youth court hearing is a sanction hearing. It is run entirely by young people. The only adult in our courtroom is an adult volunteer judge. The prosecutors and defense attorneys in our courtroom are all high school age students who've been trained and commit their time to come and serve as attorneys in the courtroom every Tuesday night in New Bedford. We also have 12 to 20 juror members who are middle school and high school age students that come every Tuesday night to volunteer their time to be the jury members in our courtroom as well. So once a young person comes to youth court, they have about a half an hour to meet with their defense teams to talk over, their case and what brought them here and their defense in the courtroom. It's not a court of guilt or innocence. It's a court of no contest, meaning that the young person has to accept responsibility for what got them to youth court. They can't come in and say it wasn't me or I didn't do it. Once they've met with their defense teams and the prosecution has met with either the victims or the parents or the principals or whoever is bringing them there, if there's witnesses in that, they meet with them. They all go into the courtroom. The jury hears the case, and then they take time to go out and deliberate and come back with a set of sanctions. Those sanctions can run from community service to apologies to essays to coming back and sitting on the jury as a jury member to see the courtroom from the other side. It may be getting them involved with counseling. It may be academic performance requirements, meaning they have to bring their grades up to a certain level. It might be an after-school program or a prevention program that gets them engaged with other students that are doing the right thing or doing positive things. So all of those are a combination of sanctions that young person will receive and will walk out knowing what they need to do for the next 120 to 180 days. Our young people, when they get referred to us, they start with an intake, and from that day to the end of their sanction period, we monitor their behavior, and the compliance rate is the rate of completion, meaning that from start to finish, they've done everything that they needed to do to be compliant with youth court. And right now, the average compliance rate for South Coast Youth Courts is 93%. South Coast Youth Courts have completed over 75,000 hours of community service to the cities of New Bedford and Fall River in the last 13 years. That's just our respondents. So that's not including the 25,000 hours that our youth attorneys have donated to youth court in the last 13 years. Those are our young people who come every Tuesday night or every Wednesday night in Fall River and commit 4 hours every Tuesday night to prosecute and defend the cases because they believe in the process. They believe that they're helping, that they can be a positive influence on the young person and that they're helping them. So, and the 2,100 hours our judges have volunteered. We can't forget those because those are important as well. Youth court costs about $1,200 a young person to process. That's from their case management to their community service to the after-school programming to the wraparound services for the families. All of that inclusive over a period of 6 months, it costs about $1,200. To incarcerate a young person in DYS custody for a year, it costs about $100,000. That's the last known number to us. That's about 100 times more to incarcerate a young person for a year than it is to process a young person through youth court for 6 months. Right now, youth court has lost its funding. We will be holding our last hearings in both cities in the next 2 weeks. The grant, we are primarily funded by grants and by foundation or sponsors. The funding has ended. I mean, funding cycle, I mean, that's the downside of grants. The funding cycles end and either the grant gets re-upped or it doesn't get re-upped. And we're at a complete loss at this point. Right now in South Coast Youth Courts, we've lost 6 people. We have 5 people still working, but we are working because we're under different grants. We're still able to complete and process the kids that we've committed to that process for, because we are working under other grants and other monies.
So if someone steps up, could youth court be saved?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think it needs to be. It needs to be saved for the city. I think that, I mean, we've shown that over the last 13 years, we've shown that it does make a difference. It makes a difference not only in our young people that have been youth court respondents, but it makes a difference to our youth volunteers who, you know, 10 of them have gone off to be attorneys and in the local area because they found their passion in youth court. And we've had young people, you know, go as far as to be Miss America or Miss Massachusetts and compete in Miss America. So I mean, it's not just helping that one kid for the first time mistake. It's also helping, you know, build confidence in kids that, you know, don't know what they want to do but have found a passion in helping others. So it's really kids, you know, kids helping other kids try and find that passion in themselves. If youth court goes away, it's a tool that not only the schools and the parents don't have to use anymore, it's also, and the police for that matter, that they don't have that tool in their toolbox to be able to use. It also means that 200 cases in the South Coast area are going back into the traditional juvenile court system, a court system that's already overrun to, you know, my estimation. I mean, they already have more than they can handle now, and that's 200 more cases that are going to be fed back into that system, and those young people aren't going to have an opportunity to, you know, make amends or take responsibility for what they did and give back.